Okay, hold up. I'm aware I look like a blueberry. I have these two new soft boxes that I really can't figure out right now. Really can't figure out right now. Had to open my big mouth. Fixed it! Okay, so I play a lot of video games in my spare time. Currently, I just started playing World of Warcraft and I'm actually really enjoying Feral Druid. With my hobby comes knowledge of, let's say, the industry. For example, I'm aware that Valve may never release Half-Life 3 simply because whatever they put out will never live up to the hype. The comment section is right down there. Now, my opinion facts set aside, it is okay to fund a game that you're creating through Kickstarter. As a strong example of success, Elite Dangerous was crowdfunded, and for its genre, it is incredibly successful. But it is not okay to fund the company that is going to be making this game. That's just not how it works. You see, if you try and fund a company through Kickstarter and not the game, people aren't going to think that the game is going to actually be developed, because there's already huge risk in Kickstarters to begin with, so crowdfunding your company might not work in the long run. Basically, people want to think that your game will actually be, developed. So without further ado, for today's project we have a Kickstarter for a Kickstarter company to production. What does that title even mean?
Hello everyone, my name is Nathaniel Malley, and this is an introduction video about my Kickstarter and what I'm trying to accomplish with my Kickstarter.
Hold up, I'm sorry, but this man has somehow acquired a camera worse than mine, and his microphone is currently sitting directly inside a megaphone. I didn't think it was possible, but I feel like my video might end up being higher quality than the Kickstarter pitch video this time. What is this feeling? It feels like accomplishment.
So, this Kickstarter, the one that I'm making this video for right now, is actually a Kickstarter to get me to another Kickstarter.
What?
This Kickstarter, the one that I'm making this video for right now, is actually a Kickstarter to get me to another Kickstarter.
So, you're kickstarting a Kickstarter? Why? And how in the world did you expect that to work? Please explain.
And the other Kickstarter that I'm trying to get to is really the Kickstarter that's going to be the Kickstarter that do the backing to really propel the production of this product. And that product is a board game. Now, it's much more than a board game. It's actually a board game from a title that's tied to a lot of lore and content that I've been developing. And I don't want to go into, I can't really give you the title or the content specifically because it's not protected, copyrighted, and such. So
you want to make a board game, and this Kickstarter is a Kickstarter so you can start a Kickstarter for this board game, but you can't tell us anything about the game itself. Didn't waste any time getting to this point, did we? You know what? Fine. I'm okay with that. But let's jump ahead a little bit and see what he does say about the board game.
Let's go ahead and jump to the actual product. So, this board game, well, first of all, let's talk about the title. The content to the title and the lore, it is actually kind of fantasy based, a little bit of mythology is tied into it. I've used multiple different aspects of old, ancient religion mixed with new religion, kind of to build this realm, because it was really important to build a new world for me to make this possible, to bring it all together.
Because, you really need a complicated backstory for your board game. Granted, I would accept this if it's something like Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder, but keep in mind, Dungeons & Dragons was created by just two guys. They definitely wouldn't need to crowdfund a company beforehand.
Initially, what I will be starting off with is something very familiar to my fantasy players out there. We got the dwarves, we got the elves, we got the humans. And I went that direction initially because I felt like, it's something that is already kind of known, and it gives you a general idea of what kind of game it's gonna be.
You're right. It gives me the idea that you haven't thought about lore, world building, or setting at all. Generic fantasy does not a good game make. That's a good starting point to draw off of, but setting your game in generic fantasy setting number 564,753 wouldn't just be beating a dead horse. It would be killing the horse, beating it, and then grinding up its hooves for glue. You need something. Something to make your world stand out. Something that you are creative with, passionate about. Something that tells me this game is going to be awesome. Something that is going to make me want to sit down and play your board game for hours. Translation, you need a miracle. Take, for example, Betrayal at House on a Hill. It's a game that allows players to literally build their own haunted house and then the mechanics trap them inside of it. It's amazing and honestly a blast to play. It is unique and creative. Humans, dwarves, and elves aren't.
So the game, the box set game that you would get is up to 4 players. There is a deluxe version that's in the works. It would be 6 players, or it might be part of the base game. I haven't decided. We haven't really figured that out yet. But what I will say is this box set, 1 to 4 players. There's also a solo mode. You can play the game by yourself, tied into the storyline, or not tied into the storyline.
I'm sorry, but did I just hear you say that you've found a way to let people solo a board game? Single player board game. Sounds boring.
The working title for this board game, not working title, but the title for this board game, what it's going to become. The content, the lore, why it's so big, and why I have so much planned for it, is because this board game is a piece of what I'm really trying to accomplish with the title. The title, I actually really want to go into mobile apps. And you'll know why here momentarily. I'll tell you the why I was inspired to create this thing.
You wanted to originally make it a mobile game. How? How do you go from highly advanced requires programming and math video game to no technology needed to play board game? That really doesn't make sense. That basically proves that you haven't thought about the mechanics of this game at all. What do you have?
We got the dwarves, we got the elves, we got the humans.
Oh, right.
Start working on it. I want to get into the PS4 world, or PS, whatever PlayStation's on at the time, the Xbox platform and the PC, because I don't know when they're going to release a new version of them, but they probably will. And this will probably take a while to get the team for something like that.
We went from board game to mobile game to PlayStation game, now to PC and Xbox game. What's next?
There's going to be a book series.
Because of course there is! No.
I don't really want to go too much into depth with that either.
Because why would you?
But there's a lot of things working in the benefit of this title.
No, there's not. All of that actually works against you. The more stuff you tack onto the project, the more spread out that your efforts will be. And do I even need to remind you that this Kickstarter isn't even for what you're talking about? This Kickstarter is so you can start up a company that then crowdfunds your game. I'm sorry, but no. You know, the worst part about this campaign is that I'm pretty sure he's serious. I think he actually believes that he can pull this off. Guys, look closely at this campaign, because this is exactly what happens when you don't think things through. You know what? There's no sense in beating a dead horse. And considering that his Kickstarter video goes on for 14 minutes, I'm done. I have made my point. You have a nice day, guys. I have some work to do.